I mentioned at the start how we stopped attending church because we wanted to like cuddle in bed on a Sunday morning and wake up and watch Gordon Ramsay for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make you some eggs or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know more about like for me, when I started really trying to evaluate my beliefs because I wanted to be a good father, a husband, a good dad when we get children and stuff. So I wanted to know, what were you viewing that? How were you viewing that? Because I remember I came to you and I keep talking. I keep telling me about it, and then I just stop talking. But I remember that I came to you and I said, "Hey, I'm investigating my internal beliefs, like in regards to everything, not just like Christianity. In fact, but I knew Christianity was true at the time and everything. But I was like, I'm going to really look into the Bible. I'm going to really look into all these things, into science, into creation versus evolution. I'm going to look at the evidence and I'm going to be as objective as possible. And I said, I don't want you to come with me on, well, I did say I want you to come with me on this journey, but I said, I don't want you to like question your faith or anything like that. But I said, would you be open to just having a conversation with me? Or like at least listening to the things I hear and being a soundboard? And you said, yeah, I'd love to hear about it. And then you booked us tickets to go see, it was a faith and science, like can faith and science mix, a talk at the 2016 Brisbane Science Festival. And that for me was a pinnacle moment of like in our relationship and also in our journey. But I'd love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, well, I love doing experiences and stuff. And so when I saw like an ad come up on my Facebook for that event, I was like, oh, Dave might be really interested in it. And then I was like, well, it might be something that I could do to show that I'm supporting him in what he's doing. And so, yeah, I booked it and I was excited, and we're going to meet up with friends down there at the same time. And, yeah, I thought it would be really, really interesting, like for me to hear as well, so that I could kind of, I don't know, understand a bit more what you were looking into exactly. That sounds a bit weird. But I never had any issues or anything with you doing that, like going down a different path and rediscovering who you were and what you believed and what was true and stuff. I never had an issue with that at all.
No.
I found it really brave, actually, because that's a really scary thing to do.
Well, thanks, babe. That's very nice. I actually, I remember feeling so conflicted because I had this drive in me to look at the evidence and go where it leads, because I thought that's the best way to arrive at a true conclusion of the universe or the world or my beliefs or whatever. There's 45,000 denominations of Christianity. How do we know we're in the correct one? I wanted to get to the bottom of it all, and it was exciting but scary. And I remember we walked out of there after we met up with AC Grayling, the philosopher, and he signed for us, booked for us, and wrote his email in. And I remember leaving there, and then you said to me the words, "I think what you're doing is good." And that just hit me like a ton of bricks. It was like, it's like you kind of realized the gravity of why it was so important to me. And then you all of a sudden got on the same page in regards to like, okay, well, this is interesting. Maybe we should look into this or whatever.
Yeah. But also because like some people get brought up in their families in an already pre-decided religion, I guess. So for you to kind of go outside of that, I think was, I don't know, it was just really nice to see that just because your family believes one thing doesn't mean that you necessarily have to believe the same.
And at that time too, we were still Christian. Like we still believe what, and we were just investigating. We were just trying to get to the bottom of all the ideas. And from my perspective, it was more so we could understand the other side, so we could explain why Christianity was right. But it just so happened for me that I quickly discovered that there were a lot of holes, and I had to be intellectually honest with myself about the holes in that. But the thing is, and this is what I keep saying, is you don't seem to care. Like I'll point out a hole and you'll go like, okay, And then like,
well, like I find it interesting, but it doesn't like.
And I'm like, but your
it
whole
doesn't,
world
like,
is
rock
built
my
on this.
world.
Yeah. And I'm like, I find it amazing. Like, how can you do that? Like, it's
well, I don't know.
impressive.
Maybe because I always used to be scared that I would be like, what's that? I'm really bad at reciting verses, but what's that verse where it talks about being like a lukewarm Christian?
Oh yeah, and you'd be vomited out of the mouth of God.
Yeah,
Revelation something. I think.
Yeah, I was scared that I was going to be that person because I was never. I don't know. I was never like that extreme to be like really hot and on fire for God.
Yeah. You never actually had a born again experience, did you? You kind of just grew up in the church.
Yeah.
All the way through, and well, I'll ask you now just to kind of go there. Would you consider yourself a Christian now?
No.
So would you consider like, well, we won't go into like a specific God, an overall God belief, but if you don't consider yourself Christian, you also didn't have a deconversion, like a aha moment in your deconversion either, did you? Deconstruction. Yeah.
No. And it just kind of eventuated. It just kind of happened.
Yeah. That's very interesting to me. Like what?
I feel like that's not very interesting. I feel like so many people have these like amazing, incredible stories about there was like this one pinnacle time.
Yeah.
Where everything like clicked or whatever. But I don't.
Yeah, but this is what
I don't have that.
I need to get across to people how weird, like this is like Aimee in a nutshell. But it's what I love about you. I always say you're like this rock, and sometimes like I'm like a balloon that's attached to the rock that's flying over the hills and looking at the horizon, and you keep me grounded. Otherwise I'd be off in the clouds, like I'd be talking nonsense. I'd be just insane.